Let's piss some people off.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to I Am Spice, the podcast. And if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm really glad you found your way into the space. This podcast is for women who've been strong for too long, women who had to grow up fast, women who learned to lead with responsibility, even when they were quietly falling apart inside. So, if that's you, you're in the right place. Before we get into today's conversation, let me do a little housekeeping. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell button so you're notified when new episodes drop. And if anything resonates with you today, like, comment, or share it because it's genuinely helps this message reach more women who need to hear it. And if you are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, where you tune in, make sure you follow the podcast so you don't miss future episodes. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for choosing yourself today. Now, let's get into this episode because I've been sitting with this one for a while now. I've been thinking about what happens after you go through something or you do something really big and where I am at right now. I've been thinking about that a lot. And when you come to think about it, I want to start by sharing exactly where I'm at in my life right now to give you guys a picture. Over the past months, I wrote my book, I released my book, then I created a companion journal for that book, and I finished that too. Yes, I officially did that. And now I'm in the process of translating the book and the journal into Spanish. You guys know that that's my main language, therefore I must do it. And I need you to hear this clearly. This wasn't a casual project. This wasn't a cute little content idea that I had in my mind. This came from lived experience, from survival, from healing, from becoming the woman that I am today. And when you finally put something like that into the world, something that carries your truth, there's a very specific feeling that follows when you do something like that. And it's not sadness, it's not even exhaustion because you start questioning yourself. It's more like a pause that tends to happen. Like your body finally looks around and says, wait, we're not running anymore. We ask ourselves that. And that pause right there, that quiet, that unfamiliar stillness, because we're not used to it. That's what this episode is really about. What we think we should expect after something big versus what really happens. Because nobody talks about what happens after you do something big. Nobody tells you that. Nobody prepares you for that. Everybody celebrates the climb, but no one teaches you what it feels like to land there. And it's very interesting when you go through that and find yourself in that very same spot. And before I go further, I want to do a brief intro to the book for those of you who do not know what I'm talking about. For those of you who are new here, I want to briefly tell you what the book is about so you understand the heart behind today's conversation, which is truly dear to my heart and very important. The book is called When Survival is No Longer the Answer, a guide for women who are done living in survival mode. I wrote this book for women who have spent most of their lives being strong, responsible, emotionally self-reliant, women who didn't choose survival but learned it early on since they were a little kid. And the book explores things like how survival shapes your nervous system, why urgency becomes familiar, why stillness can feel unsafe, why the strong one eventually becomes heavy because we tend to be that strong person who takes care of everything for everyone, and how to shift from living in reaction to living from choice. And I want to say something that matters a lot. This book is not about fixing yourself. It's about understanding yourself, because most women are broken. They are adapted to a certain way of living. And what you call personality traits, that I'm like this is how I grew up, this is how I do things, is often just a nervous system that learned how to survive. And we consider that part of our personal traits when really it's trauma reacting. I wanted to let you guys know about the companion journal, which I had thought about it. The good news right now, after I finished the book, which is the guide, something became very clear to me as to what I wanted to do next, because reading creates awareness, but writing creates integration, and that's why I created the companion journal for this book. Because healing isn't just learning the truth about everything, healing is practicing it. The journal is a guided space where you don't just understand the concept of what I'm talking about, but also you get to meet yourself inside of them, which is very, very important. This journal includes a lot of amazing things that I put together for you guys to resonate and to reflect, such as reflection prompts, nervous system aware questions, space to process your past without reliving it, because I understand it sometimes it hurts a lot to relive the past, space to redefine how you want to live moving forward. And most importantly, I love that I created this journal with a no rush vibe. There is no rush. There's no right away in this journal. There's no pressure to be perfect. You can read and journal together, or come back whenever life activates a familiar pattern that you just wanna vent. And now I'm going to say this clearly, because this is the official announcement. I'm taking advantage of episode 32 to let you guys know that the companion journal is officially out. It's been out. This episode is the official release announcement for it. And I'm really glad and happy and proud to be able to announce this, and it's already up and running. And when this episode drops next Wednesday, the links will be available right after the episode, so you can get the book, the journal, or both together. I really like that I was able to do this so fast, because they were created to support each other and support you together, which is really important. Not only to have a book, but to have a journal where you can apply this to. Now, here's where this episode really begins. When you create something from survival, when you speak from your truth, your system is focused on one thing, and it's to get it out, say it, hurry up and finish it, hurry up and release it, because we find that there's momentum in that. There's urgency in that. There's direction tied to necessity. And then one day That day that you decide to publish it, you hit publish. You close the laptop, you post the announcement, which I did. You finish the project, you survived the hardest part, which was like, would I be able to finish this? Would I be able to do it? And the world expects for you to feel one thing. They expect for you to feel like explosion, like confetti flying, like fireworks, like victory. You're supposed to be like super happy and super proud and super like all this. But to be honest, most women don't feel fireworks. Most women feel quiet. And that quiet confuses them, confuses people, because sometimes they think, wait, this is it. Like when you finally do something and are able to achieve something, why don't I feel high? Why don't I feel unstoppable? Why am I not chasing the next thing already? We think that that's how we're supposed to be feeling. Let me tell you what that quiet actually is. Because it might feel like emptiness, and it's not emptiness. It's actually landing. It's landing. It's after creation is a moment your body realizes it doesn't have to sprint anymore. You don't need to be walking on eggshells. It's like you've been holding your breath underwater for many, many years, and now you finally come up for some air. And instead of screaming, you just inhale super deep. That's how we feel sometimes, because your nervous system is finally allowed to exhale. And sometimes it takes us a lot of time to understand why this is happening. And that's what after creation is. Not the end of your fire. It's the end of your emergency, because you were trying to hurry up to do that project, to finish that, to publish it, to send that pitch, to just prove yourself. And survival is, it's like living in a storm. You're bracing, you're dodging waves, you're trying not to drown. Creation equals building something meaningful, telling the truth, healing out loud. It's like swimming through that storm with intention. You know where you're headed. You know what you want. Even if whatever comes, but after the creation, after you're done, after creation is when the storm finally passes. You went through it, and the ocean simply goes still after you went through it. And here's what nobody prepares you for. When the waters go still, you finally feel how tired your arms are, because you were just running on purpose. Nothing was going to stop you. And why are you tired? Not because you're weak, but because you've been strong for a very long time, and it's more than normal that you feel tired. Some of you are climbing mountains right now, and you think the moment you reach the top, you're supposed to feel invincible. Most of you think that that's how you're gonna feel. But sometimes when you reach the top, you don't feel invincible. That's not how you feel. You just feel quiet. You feel very small. You feel shocked that you actually made it, that you actually got there. And you start thinking there's something wrong with me. I think there's something wrong with me. But nothing is wrong. You just expected the top of the mountain to give you adrenaline, to give you more to go. But when what it actually gives you is perspective, because you finally got there. And also, this is the biggest truth. Survival fire is loud, and it burns really hot. It's fueled by fear, urgency, and proving yourself when you come from survival. But creation fire is different. Creation fire is steady, it's quiet, it doesn't need chaos to stay lit, which is very important. After survival, you don't stop being powerful. You just stop burning yourself alive to stay warm. You're not standing in ashes, you're now standing in embers. And ironically, embers don't scream. They glow, which is amazing. This is the part I want every woman to hear, because this is where women lose themselves right here. People think when you do something big, you should feel more driven, more hungry, more obsessed, more of what's next for me to conquer. But many women feel calm, grounded, present, still, and clear, and quietly proud. We don't yell, we don't scream. We put our things here and there, but we don't overly share. And because that doesn't match what society celebrates, women start questioning their worth. Most women, they think, maybe I'm not ambitious enough because I don't feel that fire. Maybe I lost my edge. Maybe I'm getting lazy because I'm not craving more. Maybe I'm falling off because society expects something else from you. But no, what's happening is integration. You got to realize when this moment comes, your body and your identity are catching up to the version of you that already crossed the finish line. You got to give yourself that moment and enjoy it and embrace it. And integration doesn't look dramatic either, because it tends to be, it looks grounded, it looks like peace. It looks like you no longer need to prove you deserve to exist. A lot of people live through life like that, trying to prove everybody that they're worthy of belonging, or that they're worthy of being there, or just proving themselves constantly. And for women who are building something big right now, we cannot give up. Now I want to speak to the woman who is in the middle of something big right now. If you're that woman, if you're building, you're trying, you're pushing, you're doing everything you can, but you're doubting, you're carrying it alone sometimes, because I know how that feels when we're creating. And then you keep thinking, if I don't feel confident every day, maybe I'm not meant for this. And that's not what it's about. No, honey, no. Confidence is not required to keep going, because not every day we're going to be as confident. Commitment is, as long as you're committed to do whatever you have put yourself into, that's what keeps you going. Some of the strongest women I know didn't feel confident. They felt tired. They felt scared. They felt uncertain. But they kept moving anyway. And if you're in that phase right now where it feels low, where nobody claps yet for you, where it feels like it's taking too long, I need you to hear this. And please listen. You are not behind. You are becoming. And usually becoming is not loud, because you're doing everything by yourself. Becoming is very private. Becoming is also messy. Becoming is repetitive. Becoming is discipline when motivation disappears most of the time. So no, you're not behind. And one day, you're going to look back and realize the hard part wasn't the work, actually. That the hard part was staying loyal to yourself while you were still invisible. because not everybody's going to give you that validation. So don't give up on your dream. Don't give up on your project. Don't give up on your venture. Not because the finish line will finally make you worthy. Let's not do things because we need to feel worthy, but because you're building a life where you don't have to live in emergency anymore. If you come to think about it, you're not chasing a feeling, you're building a home inside yourself. And that's the most important thing when you are creating and you're giving your all to a project, to a book, to a company, to a product, to a venture that you're doing. And sometimes in survival, we constantly feel like defending ourselves from others. Because when you live in survival, your feelings feel like something you have to argue for. It's like you're constantly arguing for something. Like you explain them, you justify them, you defend them constantly. You feel like everything needs to be explained when it's really not. And that's why survival is so exhausting, because we tend to want to please everybody. Not because you feel deeply, but because your inner world was never met with understanding. And this happens more often than people like to admit. Somewhere along the way, many of us learned that our feelings were treated like an argument instead of what they actually are. When we talk about our feelings, people often confuse when we say I feel like. When we express our feelings, is an invitation to understand. And when no one accepts that invitation, you don't stop feeling. You stop trusting those people when you cannot tell them how you feel. And you stay braced. You stay defensive. It's really hard to trust. You stay on guard. They have not made a safe place for you. But then again, creation doesn't come from defensiveness. Creation comes from safety. And when you no longer have to argue for your inner world with nobody, you finally have space to build something new and something for you. People do not have to be okay with what you're doing or where you're headed or your dreams. As long as that is your passion and you know what you want in life, that's all you need in the moment. So if you're listening and you've achieved something big lately, if you healed something, finished something, changed your life, or whatever that might look like and whatever that might be, you told your truth, you reached a milestone, you graduated, you did that class, you learned that language, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not meant to immediately become someone new after you do this big thing. Because I know that people, that's what they tend to pretend that's going to happen, and you're going to be somebody different. You're allowed to stand where you are. You don't need another crisis. You don't need another goal right away. You don't need to prove your growth is real with no one. That's something that you just did, and just allow yourself to sit with that. Your peace is not a lack of ambition. It's evidence of alignment. It means you're no longer running on fear, which is amazing. It means you're no longer fueled by survival, because it's so exhausting. It means you're no longer building your life like you are being chased. It means you're finally creating because you want to, and that you're allowed to do that on your own. Right now, I feel present, I feel clear, I feel intentional, and I don't need to rush my next chapter for the first time. And I feel safe, not because life is perfect. My life is not perfect. Not because I don't have any problems, but because I no longer confuse urgency with purpose. And that is what survival teaches you. Survival teaches you if you're not rushing, you're not doing enough. People are constantly aware if they're doing anything or not, or if they're working or they're being productive or not. That is living in survival, in case you didn't know. But healing teaches you you don't have to rush to be powerful. We're not talking about being lazy here, though. Is that you don't have to be constantly doing something to prove that you're not a nobody. And before we close this episode, I want to ask you something. Please, please, pretty please. If this conversation resonated, if it gave language to something you've been feeling, please send this episode to another woman who needs it. There is so much I wish people would listen to and that would share here as well. If that might be a friend, a sister, a co-worker, a woman who just accomplished something big and doesn't know why she feels different, but not the type of different that society expects from her. Because sometimes all it takes is hearing things like, you're not lost, you're integrating, you live in the moment, you're allowed to pause. And as always, subscribe and hit the bell button if you are watching on YouTube. I really appreciate it. Thank you for following the podcast if you're listening on any other platform. And like I always say, you could be doing something else, but you guys decided to be here and to listen to me. And remember, the companion journal is officially out. And this episode is the official announcement of the companion journal. And when the episode drops next Wednesday, the links will be available for you right after the episode, so you can grab the book, the journal, or both if you haven't grabbed the book yet. Thank you so much for watching. And as I always say, you could be doing something else, but here you are listening to me. I think I said that already. Thank you for being here. Thank you for growing me. Thank you for allowing yourself to live beyond survival. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Love you bunches.
And remember, we're unfiltered, unapologetic, and unstoppable. That's that.